I'm Emma, and today I'm going to make Frostmourne from World of Warcraft for my Secret Santa gift out of cardboard, like I usually do with my props. And right now I have on my computer screen is a picture of Frostmourne scaled to what people say the length is, which is 121 centimeters. And so um, what I'm using Autodesk for is so I can find the measurements for each individual part, like the length of the hilt and the length of the blade. So I'm just going to trace out the preliminary cut shapes for these, and I'm also going to make I'm going to construct the core of the sword using some wooden dowels. So let's get right to it. So because this is being made for someone else, I'm going to make it a bit stronger. Usually I'd only use this one wood dowel, this one very thick wood dowel, to make the core of the sword, but just in case the person I'm giving to it swings it too hard, I want to make it a bit stronger, so I'm going to take two smaller dowels. I'm going to put them on the side of the main core, so that, and I'm going to hot glue it. Usually I'd use wood glue too. I don't have wood glue right now, so I guess that's kind of undermining the strength. And then I'm going to duct tape around it. And hopefully that makes a sort of strong core, and also a good frame for making the blade on. Okay, so as you can see, I have it hot glued, but hot glue, as you guys know, is not very strong of a glue. It's more used as a space filler. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back around with this with some duct tape. Okay, so now I have the duct tape on it. I'm not a big fan of using duct tape. In my previous props, I never really used duct tape, but I guess this adds to the DIY spirit. I mean, I guess this doesn't break the DIY spirit. And it's very strong for its material too. I gotta stop being a cardboard purist. Alright, so what I'm doing now is I'm making contour points on this image so that I basically know the general outline of the blade, so that when I trace it on this piece of cardboard, I have some points to know generally where the line's going to be. And so let me show you what that looks like. Alright, so now you can see that all of these points have dimensions on them, which I've used to mark out points on this cardboard, so that when I cut it out, they kind of line up with this with the points. And I realized that the model I'm using for reference is probably inaccurate because I'm guessing this is pulled from WoW, which has lower graphics so that it can run for multiple people. And so I'm looking at other sources, such as this 3D print model and the official model, and I'm realizing that, you know, like this contour right here, where it comes out like this, is not reflected on this model. There's no cutout here that makes it look like a bat wing, and so that's something where I have to take creative liberty and make it my own. And so you can see that right at that spot, there is no contour points there, but I just made it look close. And generally that's what you're going for when you're making it out of cardboard. It doesn't need to be perfect. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it out and use this to carve out the rest of the blade. Trace out the rest of the blade. Alright, so this is what the half of the sword looks like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this half to trace out a one sheet of cardboard that has both sides, both halves. I'm going to do that twice. Both of them are going to be mirror images of each other, and then they're going to go on top of this blade. So let's get right to it. Boop. Alright, so now you can see I've traced out the entirety of the blade in one sheet. And you can see on the other side, I kind of had to take creative liberty with how I did the other side of the blade, but in general, this is how it's going to look like. So now I'm going to cut it out with a X-Acto knife. So let's get right to it. Always make sure you have a sheet of cardboard under another sheet whenever you cut on wood, so you don't scratch the wood. But let's get right to it. Alright, so now what I'm doing is I'm placing cardboard sheets in between the two halves of the blade so that the inside is not hollow when I put both sides of the blade on. This is what I mean. I want there to be a bit of, density to the blade. So I'm filling in with some cardboard sheets. So this is probably the biggest downside with hot glue, is that it takes a while for the glue to warm up before it can come out. And so it's hard to place down large flat sheets. And so in order to amend this, I'm just going to have to keep peeling away the sword, putting more glue on, and then pushing it down gradually until I go forward. But I think I might plug in a second glue gun to maybe make it so that the other one heats up on the other's cooldown. I mean, I have a hot one ready while the other is on its cooldown. Just like in an MMO, using my rotation. Oh my god, that was cringy. Please don't. I ended up putting duct tape on the edges of the sword, which I hate the look of very much. I did a terrible job, or I made a terrible decision by doing duct tape. But at least the hot glue is holding on pretty well. But yeah, you can see that hollowness in it. Maybe I should not have put the stuffing in there so that this cardboard had a bit more flexibility. But yeah, looks pretty good. And best part is this is very, very rigid, very stable. You never want the cardboard to swing away from you, or swing you never want it to feel like the cardboard will come off when you swing it too hard. So it's pretty solid. We're chilling. Alright, so now I'm going to make the handle. Is this going to focus? Hello? Okay, I'm going to make the handle, and for me to do this, I'm going to take 2 ribbed pieces. I'm going to put them over the handle down here. And then these pieces here, these ribs are going to fold around, they're going to curve around, and they're going to eventually wrap around and make that handle. And I'm doing this with ribs because what I want to do is I want to interlock these ribs so that it creates more strength. Because what I don't want it to happen is for me to hot glue the handle. And you know, when you hot glue a round thing around a round thing, it has that shear force that... The easiest way for those two things to get loose is, shear force, the twisting to happen that dislodges them. So that's what I'm trying to do by ribbing these, is preventing that shear force from happening. Hopefully. But we'll see how that works. Okay, so hopefully maybe now you can see what I'm talking about. These are going to interlock. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another sheet around these, so that when that sheet maybe rotates in your hand, instead of rotating around the dowel, it rotates around these interlocked ribs, which are fixed in opposite directions, so that the force is not, doesn't pull it apart. I'm just gonna make it. I don't care. Okay, so this is the result. There's still a bit sticking up at the top here, but that's okay because we're gonna get covered up with that little bob at the end. But looks pretty good. Oh yeah. Alright, I'm making the pommel now. I've kind of given up on trying to do it out of cardboard, so I think I'm just going to put these little strips around it and then cover that in duct tape, and we'll see where that goes. Alright, here's my sorry excuse of a pommel. But next what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some electrical tape and I'm going to wrap it around the handle to make it nice and smooth. Alright, so making this skull on the front of the sword is the hardest thing to do out of cardboard. Yeah, if I was at home, I'd probably 3D print this, honestly. So to recreate it while I'm here, I decided to make it out of layers of cardboard, which is a terrible approximation, but the idea is that you go layer by layer, and you kind of build it up, and you see what's the cross section supposed to look like, and then eventually you get the final product, which does not look like a skull at all. But let's glue it together and see what it looks like. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It has a nice form, I will say, but when you compare it to the model, it's not very close at all. And you know, that's okay. It just be like that sometimes, you know? Okay, I guess it looks a tiny bit better with the duct tape on. Still not at all like a skull. If it's a skull, it doesn't look angry at all. It looks maybe it looks more like an alligator than a skull. But good enough. Alright, now for the hardest. There's no way I'm doing this. The hardest part is making these horns. How am I going to do this out of cardboard? Cardboard is not very, you know, round material, so let's see what I come up with. Wow, I am actually happy with this. This is so cool. I was able to make it so that the strip curved around the handle, and then you put these little strips on the side of it to connect them, and now it looks like a horn. Wow, I'm amazed. Cool. Okay. Look at that. Okay, now I gotta fill up the top side of it. I'm probably going to fill it in with some spare cardboard so I can make it thick and not fall apart. At the bottom you can see my blade tip is kind of bending. I need to be careful of that, but I also have to work on the other side. Alright. It's astonishing just how these horns can really add to the skull and make it seem like a skull. I am so pleased with these horns, immensely. They look exactly how I want them to look, and they make a really good like hilt. Very good hilt to take away from the pommel. Alright, so that means last thing to do is to make the edges of the hilt. And I don't think I'm going to touch up the pommel. Oh yeah, I also have to add rings around the hilt, I guess. The handle. Okay, well that should be easy. Honestly, I can't believe I've come this far in just a day. But now the last step for cardboard making is going to be putting on these skulls on the side and putting on stuff on the hilt. But wow, awesome job. I'm on. Awesome job, me. Cool job. Okay, so this is what I have for the skulls on the side. Huge issue is that they look more like dragon skulls than, well, what I'm trying to say is that this is supposed to be steeper, and this horn is also supposed to extend further back. So hopefully I can fix that with tape, but if not, I mean, this looks pretty sick. But it doesn't look like Frostmourne. Alright. It's finally ready for painting. Whoa. The handle's okay. Not my best work. I don't like how it's all jagged like this from the ribbing. I really should have just went with a solitary handle. I figure maybe I could fix it after. But I'm pretty happy with it. I guess this one makes it look more handmade or hand wrapped. It's still too geometric though. But hopefully once the paint comes on, it's gonna look great. Okay, I've got the base coat on. Now it's time for me to do the actual painting, which I'm going to base off of this image right here, which is the official replica. Alright, so I'm back home, and I'm almost done with Frostmourne. I'm having a bit of trouble with the coloring, but you can see I've even got the lettering on. Now I really just want to touch up the color of the blade's edges. So I'm going to paint it with some gray, and then after that, I'm going to put a mix of metallic ice blue and silver onto it and see if that's gonna work. So now it's painted. I figured I might as well make the backing for it. I'll make it like a shield, like an arm shield. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Sorry, I forgot to record this, but I took a panel of cardboard, I rolled it up, and I glued it onto the side of the shield so that acts as like holders for the sword. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this black and then put a bit of a silver. It's gonna have a black trim and then a silver inside on it, so hopefully it all turns out great. But you know, this is just the cherry on top. This wasn't necessary, but I decided to just do it. So it's gonna look cool. Okay, so Frostmourne is finally finished, and it looks epic. So now I'm going to put it in here. Then, oh yeah, oh god, this is nice. Whew. Was this a two-handed greatsword or one-handed? I forget. But yeah, nice. So yeah, this is the final product. Beautiful.
Pick up on the bottom.
Carefully.
Don't tilt the ball.
Facing up.
Hey, what the heck is this?
Oh no! Whoa! 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 Whoa!
This is not.
I can't see it.
This is not on my list. No, I didn't.
Must be someone that knows.